Ciao a tutti, molte persone mi richiestono come era il volo da New York a Malpensa a Milan, quindi my flight to Italy. Until July, I hadn't left my Brooklyn neighborhood and the less than 2 square miles around it. Since understanding the severity of the pandemic, I was definitely afraid to fly, seeing airplanes as complete petri dishes. I flew direct from Milan to New York on March 2nd, thinking I'd be back in Italy within a few weeks, and soon I became unsure of when I would be able to see Michele again. Both of our nations shut down their border. When we were able to figure out a solution, the next stage left me very anxious about the actual flight. No direct flights to Milan, and I would have to fly in Rome with a domestic connecting flight. I am not advocating for long-haul flights unless necessary right now, but should you be interested, here is my experience with flying recently. I'm a person that's a very easy flyer. Falling asleep before the plane even takes off, I like taking an overnight flights. On this 8.5-hour flight from JFK to Rome Fiumicino, I slept for maybe 2 or 3 hours. Let me take you through my journey. What I wore. You guys know I love a look. Friends who had taken shorter domestic flights were recommending clothes that you throw out later. I didn't want to use a hard to wash kind of travel blanket or even my Scaglione cashmere duster because I knew I'd be using wipes and sprays and I wanted something that could easily wipe down. When I saw this spring summer 20 Love Shack fancy nylon floral tracksuit, I knew I found it.
So because I'm traveling, I've got my face mask, face shield. I'm actually wearing a nylon jacket that I can just throw in the wash as soon as I get there. Things don't stay on it and absorb. And hoping for the best. Have my hand sanitizer, have my own water bottle, and wish me luck, guys.
Ample pockets, and it was cute. Upon landing in Milan, per recommendation of my friend Dr. Kiona, I changed in the airport restroom into a fresh look to greet Michele and put my airplane clothes in a reusable.
So, like Dr. Key suggested, I changed clothes and freshened up in the bathroom. So now I'm just waiting for my luggage and then I'll greet Michele. And I put all of my stuff in, like, you can't see it, but a plastic bag.
Usable bag that I usually put swimsuits in when I'm traveling. When I got to my apartment, they immediately went into the washing machine. About protective wear. Everyone at all 3 airports I went to was in a mask. In fact, I saw an airport police officer in Rome insist that a passenger put on a mask. I wore a hospital-grade mask for the duration of the flight with my Scaglione mask over it. In force of habit, I used to do that during the pandemic with a construction mask. My friend Brandon brought an extra face shield before he made the flight from LA to New York recently, and he gave me this extra one. Mask protecting others from me, face shield protecting me from others. Maybe I wouldn't wear the face shield for a flight that's 4 hours and under, but it gave me peace of mind on this long haul flight. Boarding my plane, a few of us had them on. Now, getting to the airport. My family dropped me off and didn't really come in. My mom usually hugs me at security, long big bear hug, but there wasn't really any of that this time around. Temperature checks. Before approaching the check-in at JFK, they took my temperature and wrote it down on my documents. When boarding the plane, they asked to see this document with my temperature. Upon landing in Rome, they took my temperature as they did upon landing in Milan.
Empty airport I have never seen. Oh man.
The airports. JFK was like a ghost town. Hardly any cars dropping people off, protective shields separating customers from the desk agents. It was like this weird dystopian fantasy. Pre-check isn't really recognized as there was hardly anyone flying.
I just got through customs at JFK. They had to call Italy. So right now I am going through security, about to go through security. I have my face shield. It's like a ghost town here, no one's around, so we'll see.
Stores that sold food and newsstands, they were kind of open. Some of them were, some weren't. The passengers at my flight operating at seemingly half capacity were European national or dual passport holders returning to Italy. I was actually on line behind one American couple heading to Greece and flying through Italy. Rome Fiumicino was more lively with a lot of Italians heading on holiday. Like JFK, seats were set up in social distancing efforts with every other one blocked off.
I'm at Rome Fiumicino, which is functioning way more of an airport than JFK. It's like actually really busy in here.
I had a 3-hour layover we booked intentionally just in case we had problems with the border patrol. I had a cappuccino when I did work, kind of a standard layover fare. At this point, I had a mask on, but not a face shield. Malpensa was kind of dark and quiet, more of a JFK vibe as compared to Rome's airport, but that's pretty standard. On the flight, the boarding process was very smooth and organized from the back as to prevent too many people from passing each other in the aisles. The airplane was a Boeing 777-200, no Dreamliners and megabuses this time around. Each side of the plane had a pair of seats with the middle aisle having a set of 4. I mostly saw families in that middle aisle while single travelers were given window seats with empty seats next to them. As soon as I boarded, I wiped down my seat, had an armrest, screens, window, and remote with antibacterial wipes. I saw many other people doing the same. I then turned on the overhead air vent and spoke to a Delta communications person about flying flight safety. They detailed this being a very important part of the flight's air filtration system. This was a huge change for me as often I shut it off. I'm always freezing on flights. Settled in and remained pretty unbothered for the duration of my flight. I watched a few movies, tried to sleep. Breathing in a face mask for 8 hours, easy, facile. Sleeping with a face shield, hard. There's just no way to get cozy. I went to the restroom 3 or 4 times and it always looked freshly cleaned when I did. And while I was eating was the only time I slightly raised my mask. It was kind of like this. I used my hand sanitizer quite a bit, but I didn't use the pocket behind the seat. My second domestic flight within Italy was also operating with every other seat open. It was a smaller aircraft and I was in the window seat while a gentleman was in the airplane food. I kind of like airplane food. I'm a weirdo. I packed food for my flight, Luna bars, and I was surprised that Alitalia served food. There wasn't the many options as usual. There was cheese ravioli, not good, bread and butter, a pack of taralli, crackers, tiramisu, and 2 water bottles. Usually I like flying Air France and Alitalia for the bread and wine options. In the morning, there was a brioche and 2 bottles of water again. I'm currently in Italy, staying at home with my partner, and all in all, it was a relatively easy flight and well worth it to get to him. I feel good. We've been monitoring my temperature, and in a few days, I can get back out there doing work and enjoying Italy. Not a lot of places are accepting Americans right now, but if you're considering, say, responsibly traveling to Mexico or even around the US, I do hope this was helpful. Every airline is different. My experience would have been completely different if it was one of the airlines that were operating at full capacity. Are you guys thinking about traveling before the summer's ending? How are you getting there? Plane, train, or automobile? Are you a little bit nervous? Tell me and subscribe.